When I first started my career, one of the very first things we learned about was imposter syndrome. It was something I'd barely heard of before. Imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern where someone doubts their abilities and feels less capable than the people around them. Most of the time, this belief is completely false. It's self-imposed and not grounded in reality. At the time, I didn't pay much attention to it. I thought if it never has affected me before, why would it now? Turns out that was the wrong assumption. It hadn't affected me before because I'd never had the space to think about it. University was chaotic. Everything was due yesterday, exams were always tomorrow. And while that's an exaggeration, you know what I mean. University was demanding, fast-paced, and most of the time we just had to get things done and move on to the next deadline. Then I started my corporate career. Suddenly I was surrounded by incredibly talented people. And ironically, the first thing I learned about was imposter syndrome. Like I said, I brushed it off, thinking this probably won't apply to me. I was very wrong. When you're surrounded by people who seem unstoppable, people who constantly deliver at an outstanding level, it's almost inevitable that you question your own abilities. And that, in essence, is imposter syndrome. It's the feeling that you're not good enough, that you're surrounded by giants, and anything you achieve is overshadowed by the people around you. For me, it comes in waves. I can be fully focused and confident while working on my tasks, but the moment I look around and compare myself to others, I can't help but notice the greatness in them that I feel I lack. It's a self-destructing pattern. Over time, though, I found a few things that genuinely help, tools I now rely on when those thoughts start creeping in. The first is self-reflection. This is about stepping back and looking at yourself objectively, where you are and what you've actually accomplished. At work, I use data to help drive that reflection, but I also rely on honest self-assessment. Yes, it can be self-critical at times, but that's where the next point becomes essential, which is feedback from others. I rely heavily on feedback from my peers, not just from my career growth, but for perspective. I think we often get so deep in our own heads that we lose sight of our contributions. I started actively asking for feedback last year, and honestly, it was overwhelmingly positive. It somewhat surprised me, but the feedback highlighted what I bring to the team while also giving me clear, constructive areas to improve on. Finally, and possibly the most important point is don't lose yourself. It's kind of wild to realize that so many people at the top of their game feel this way. But having experienced it firsthand, the best advice I can give is this. Don't let your inner thoughts define your worth. You are talented. And here's a thought. If you're surrounded by talent, wouldn't that make you one as well? There are many ways to deal with imposter syndrome. I've only shared a few. Even talking to family, trusted peers, or close friends can make a huge difference. That's it for this video. And I just wanted to reiterate one last thing. If you're experiencing imposter syndrome, take the time to pause, evaluate those thoughts, try to look at things objectively, and talk to someone you trust about how you're feeling. You're not alone in this.